Hey, today I will be talking about Mars and mythology, but there will also be some astrology as these two can easily be combined. The name Mars is derived from Latin and may have been the name used for an ancient Etruscan child god Maris, a powerful immortal god known for his military might, or from Proto-Italic deity called Mavors, a deity of which little is known. Mars is the Roman god of war in Roman mythology and the protector of the ancient civilization. Before he became the god of war, he was known as the god of agriculture. He was the most important god in the Roman pantheon because he was the father of Romulus, Rome's founder. Now, Ares is the Greek counterpart to Mars and is considered the Olympian god of war. The Romans usually borrow their gods and mythology from the Greeks, but there are some differences between Ares and Mars. Ares is viewed as more unruly, impulsive, and reckless, while Mars was depicted as more shrewd and cautious in his actions. Mars was a cardinal god in a council of 12, second only to Jupiter. He was the member of the archaic triad, a coalition of powerful gods. He's usually depicted either as a youth with smooth cheeks or as a mature man with a beard, curly hair, robust in nature, wearing an armor which may be full, including a helmet, chest plating known as cuirass, spear, shield, and a military cloak. He can also be illustrated as a naked man with a spear, shield, and a helmet. As the god of war, Mars had many symbols associated with him. The most recognizable is the Ankhal, his sacred shield. A legend says that his shield fell from heaven during the rule of Pompilius, and as long as the shield remained in the city, Rome would be safe. Some of the animals associated with Mars are wolf, dog, vulture, woodpecker, and eagle, and he was also associated with the land of Thrace or Thraci, a region to the north of Greece which had a reputation of being barbaric. Mars was known by many names, like Mars Gradivus or Marching Mars for his presence on the battlefield, as Mars Quirinus or Mars of the Quirites, celebrated as a bringer of peace through the act of war, Mars Pater and Mars Pater Victor, meaning Mars Father, or Mars the Father, the Victorious, Mars Ultor, meaning Mars the Avenger, and as Mars Augustus, something like Mars who is awesome. He was a strong god and rode a chariot drawn by fire-breathing horses named Aethon, meaning red fire, Phlogios, meaning flame, Konabos, meaning loud and confusing noise, and Phobos, meaning fear. There are several versions of Mars's birth. In one, he is the son of Jupiter or Zeus and Juno or Hera. In other, Hera bore him without Zeus at the touch of the magic herb given to her by Flora, a goddess of flowers, spring, and fertility. He was born in March, which is known to be the month of Mars. In the earliest Roman calendar, March was the first month, and the god would have been born with the new year on March 1st. Mars's festivals at Rome occurred in the spring and the fall, known as the beginning and the end of the agricultural and military seasons. Mars's siblings included Bellona, a goddess of war, Vulcan, god of forge, and Juventus, a goddess of youth. He also had many half-siblings like Mercury, Proserpina, and Minerva, goddess of wisdom. It is said that both of his parents did not like their son Mars, and even his own sister Athena called him a thing of rage, a two-faced liar. Mars envied his cool-headed sister Athena because Zeus adored her. When Mars was wounded in the battle by the hero Diomedes, he flew angrily to Mount Olympus to complain to his father. Zeus did not like that and told him he is the most hateful god of all the gods on Olympus, as wars, quarrels, and fights are dear to his heart. He was also known to have a low tolerance for pain. So except Aphrodite, who adored him mainly because of his passionate lovemaking, and Hades, who enjoyed recruiting the dead of the war to his underworld domain, he gained little admiration on Mount Olympus. On one occasion, the twin giants Ephialtes and Otus bound Ares in chains and stuffed him in a bronze jar. He remained there for 13 months, growing weaker by the day. Finally, Eribea, the stepmother of the giants, discovered the prank and told Hermes, who rescued him. Another Roman myth connected to Mars is that of his marriage to Anna Perenna. Mars fell in love with Minerva, the virgin goddess of wisdom and crafts, who did not respond to his amorous advances. But Mars wanted to impress Minerva and win her favor, so he sought the help of the age goddess of New Year and Time, Anna Perena. Now she did like Mars and wanted him for herself, so she double-crossed him by disguising herself as Minerva, and wearing a veil she tricked him into marrying her. Needless to say, he was not happy with that. Mars had a long love affair with Aphrodite, or Venus, which lasted for the duration of her marriage to Hephaestus and beyond. She bore him 4 divine sons, Eros, Anteros, Deimos, and Phobos, and a daughter, Harmonia. They were considered a couple despite the adulterous nature of their relationship. His monstrous offspring was Dracon Ismenian, a dragon serpent which guarded the Ismenian spring of Thebes. Some of his mortal offsprings are the Amazons, warrior women of Assyria or Asia Minor, Diomedes, a king of Bistonia and Thrace, Hippolyta, a queen of the Amazons, Meleager, a prince of Aetolia, Romulus and Remus, to name a few. The story of Romulus and Remus went something like this. Rhea Silvia was a Vestal virgin. These were in ancient Rome known as Vestals, priestesses of Vesta, virgin goddess of Rome, sacred hearth and its flame, and there is much debate and variation as to whom was the father of Romulus and Remus, as some myths claim that Mars appeared and lay with her, while others say that Hercules was her partner. Now mostly all agree that she blamed her pregnancy on divine conception. As she was a virgin, her pregnancy was seen as a crime, and she was either imprisoned or drowned, and her children, Romulus and Remus, were taken away. They were set adrift in a basket onto the river Tiber. The river god Tiberinus ensured their safety, and their basket was caught in the roots of a fig tree, where a she-wolf or lupa suckled them. Eventually they were found and raised by a shepherd and his wife, Faustulus and Acca Larentia. When they grew up, they wanted to found a city. But they argued about the location, and in the heat of the argument, Romulus killed his brother. Romulus named his city Roma after himself. Rome's initial population was made of mostly fugitives, runaway slaves, and criminals. Male population was growing, and Rome was unable to produce any generations of their own. So Romulus decided to invite the neighboring people, the Sabines, to a religious festival. Upon their arrival, the Romans raped the women, and war broke out. Romulus went the way of tyrants. He died under mysterious circumstances. Due to this myth or story, Mars in some sense helps to construct the city, which returned to his worship unironically, thus completing the cycle. The Babylonians called the planet Mars Nergal, and he too symbolized the god of war, and a little bit more than that. He was the midday sun that scorched the earth and burned the skin. He was a god of plague and epidemics, of every conceivable disaster. It is written that Nergal stormed into the land of the dead, overthrown the dark queen who ruled there, and set himself up as the king of the underworld. Now, other texts mention that there was some sort of compromise, and that Nergal ruled alongside of Ereshkigal, so the land of the dead had a queen and a king, just like Hades and Persephone. Now, why this can be significant and associated with Mars is because Nergal is connected both with Sun and with the darkness. And Mars is symbolically linked with the Sun and Pluto, and he has been connected with these archetypes since the Babylonian times, and maybe even since the dawn of civilization in ancient Sumer. The most highly acclaimed and recognized statistical research in the field of astrology is credited to the Guckelans. Michel Guckeland's chart readings were so successful that his schoolmates called him Nostradamus. Now, they spent years studying the charts of famous people in order to confirm planetary significance. So a prominent Mars in a birth chart, according to the research, produced individuals who excelled in science, medicine, military, business career, and was also found in the births of sports champions. On the other hand, Mars was least apparent in the charts of writers, artists, and musicians. The other thing is that Mars may work surprisingly well in the 9th and the 12th house of the zodiac, houses of Sagittarius and Pisces. For example, in the 12th house, Mars can be seen as inert and uninterested, but his presence in this house strengthens its nature. These houses, in a way, represent one's most deeply felt beliefs and convictions, and they are stimulated by the presence of planets, in this case, Mars. In the birth chart, Mars is the warrior. He is considered the motivating force or energetic level through which one is required to act. Mythology of Mars tells us that Mars acts independently and quickly, and nothing stops him when he needs or wishes something. And this is where the danger lies with, well, every planet in a natal chart, but especially Mars, as he needs to be somewhat controlled. In India, Mars is associated with the god Kartikeya. This deity came more out of necessity as the gods were being terrorized by a demon, who according to prophecy could only be slain by a 7-day-old son of Shiva. So the gods created a beautiful illusion, a beautiful woman, that even Shiva could not help himself, and he released his seed, which fell into the ocean and was nourished by the Pleiades, wives of the 7 rishis. And these are in fact stars of the Big Dipper or the plow. They made a womb out of earth and water for the unborn child, and in 7 days the Kartikeya, known also as Murugan, the god of war, was born and slayed the demon. In this way, we can see that Mars is all about power and purpose. We need to slay our own inner demons. Each one of us has some psychological complexes, fears, and phobias, which steer in our inner darkness until they explode to the surface. And this emerges into our consciousness, carrying with it all the amped up energy, usually negative. So this causes quarrels and even warfare between ourselves and others. But this same energy can be turned into good, as this is the same energy which can be used to combat inner demons. In that way, Mars is the inner warrior, and as we direct that warrior, great things are possible. And this is it for today. Thank you for being with me. Please subscribe, press a like button. This helps a lot, and I will be seeing you in a couple of days. Bye.